Rozier, he was arrested in Orlando this morning, and he was there because the Miami Heat played the Orlando Magic last night. Rozier was active for that game, but he did not play as part of a coach's decision.
Playing cards that had markers visible only to the individuals wearing special contact lenses or sunglasses. Wasn't that in James Bond? It's crazy. How much money are they betting?
The men and women that are standing up here today work tireless hours, days, months, and years. And the fraud is mind-boggling. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's not thousands of dollars. It's not tens of thousands of dollars. It's not even millions of dollars. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery.
Major bust, rounding up many people with the NBA. Dan Bongino saying, Operation Summer Heat resulted in over 28,000 violent criminal arrests in a different operation. Operation Restoring Justice resulted in the apprehension of hundreds of child predators. Now, in addition to this work, we're also getting the NBA saying your FBI remains intently focused on combating organized crime and fraud like this one. And today's takedown, big one, reinforces that message. We will find you. That's what we do. From Dan Bongino. And so we got the indictment pulled up, but it was a pretty big situation because Fox News is reporting that they went and arrested a bunch of these dudes, including this fella right here, Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier. And apparently he was just one of many.
All right, some breaking news is catching everybody by surprise. The FBI arresting NBA player Terry Rozier early this morning in connection with a widespread sports betting investigation, and he's not the only one.
This is huge news. Nate Ford joins us live from Brooklyn with the latest. Good morning, Nate.
Hey, guys. Good morning. Yeah, breaking news that is sure to rock the sports world. You mentioned Terry Rozier, and he's not the only one. Chauncey Billups, the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers and a multi-time All-Star, a Finals MVP back in his playing days, also arrested this morning as part of an FBI investigation into illegal sports gambling. Now, Rozier, he was arrested in Orlando this morning, and he was there because the Miami Heat played the Orlando Magic last night. Rozier was active for that game, but he did not play as part of a coach's decision. Now, this all comes after the Wall Street Journal reported back in January that Rozier was under federal investigation related to a 2023 game back when he played for the Charlotte Hornets, where there was a surge of suspicious gambling activity related to the under on his performance with points, rebounds, and assists in a game where Rozier ended up leaving after about 10 minutes with an ankle injury. So the Wall Street Journal report detailed it so that it appeared that perhaps Rozier was accused of changing his performance in the game in order for other people to make money on his bets or on their bets. Now, this is part of an investigation that also landed a lifetime ban for Jonte Porter, a former Toronto Raptors player who pleaded guilty to his role. He's awaiting sentencing in December. We are expecting a news conference here at 10 o'clock with FBI Director Kash Patel and Joe Nocella, the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York. So we will be covering that throughout.
I've got those clips coming up, but let's take a look at the indictment before we hear Kash explain exactly what is going on. Fresh out of the oven, just unsealed today. You see, Eastern District of New York has the case. It is the United States of America versus a bunch of people, including, as we heard, Chauncey Billups, the coach, and others. Man, look at these names. Spanish G, what's up? Lou App. We got Flapper Poker, aka Flappy's here. We got Maddie, also known as the Wrestler. Spook is in the house. What's up to Juice? What's up, Black Tony? We got Sugars here. Albanian Bruce, Big Bruce. We got Horatio, also known as H, and Jonathan Chan, aka Skrully, aka Stanley. Many charged. We're not done. D Jones, what's up, John South? Kurt is here. We got Doc, Black Rob. What's up, Black Rob? Pookie is here, as is Jay, all charged. And if you're an NBA person, you may recognize more of those names than I do, but they're all indicted. Beginning in at least 2019, these defendants and their co-conspirators, they engaged in a complex fraud scheme to rig or cheat at illegal poker games in the Eastern District of New York. They call it the rigged poker scheme. The defendants and their co-conspirators carried out the rigged poker scheme by manipulating certain poker games at otherwise non-rigged or straight illegal poker games, including weekly poker games at various locations. They did this in Washington, Lexington, and everything. The games were on record with and operated with the express permission and approval of certain organized crime families of La Cosa Nostra, who provided support and protection for the games and collected the debts in exchange for a portion of the proceeds. So you lose your money, they're going to make sure you pay. Victims of this scheme believed that they were participating in straight illegal poker games and that they were gambling against other people on equal footing, like it was was fair. In reality, the defendants and their co-conspirators, who constituted the remaining participants purportedly playing the poker games, they worked together on cheating teams that advanced wireless technologies to read the cards dealt in each poker player's hand and relay that information to the defendants and the co-conspirators in the games. The defendants and their co-conspirators then bet accordingly to ensure the unsuspecting victims lost money. Through the rigged scheme, their co-conspirators defrauded millions of dollars out of the other people. This guy's a member of the Bonanno crime family of La Cosa Nostra. This guy's a resident, all these people charged in these poker games, it looks like. And let's see what else happened. So we know a bunch of people got charged for various things. Here's the scam. So these people, Amar, Zen, Robert, and others, together with others, they organized and participated in these rigged games. They supplied others with cheating technology. On numerous occasions, certain defendants and their co-conspirators invited victims to the game. These were wealthy people. To attract the victims, they'd bring in the athletes. They'd say, you know who's going to be playing there, don't you? These NBA stars. To attract the victims, in some instances, well-known former professional athletes participated. The face cards were members of the cheating teams. They received a portion of the criminal proceeds. The defendants, Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones, both of whom are former professional basketball players, were the face cards, and they were the members of the cheating team. So, hey man, Chauncey Billups, the coach of the basketball team, is going to be there. So they came out. At the rigged game, the members of the cheating teams, including the defendants and their co-conspirators, they used card shuffling machines that were randomly shuffling the cards, but those machines were secretly altered to use concealed technology to read the cards on the deck, predict which player at the table had the best poker hand, and relay that information to an off-site operator. Dang. The operator then communicated that info by cell phone to a member of the cheating team who was the quarterback. Then he used the secret signaling to share the information with other members of the team in the rigged games. The cheating teams used the information from the quarterback to defraud the victims. Everybody else thought that they were playing straight poker. At times, they also used other cheating technologies like an electronic poker chip tray that could secretly read cards placed on the poker table, card analyzers that utilized technology loaded onto decoy cell phones that could detect which cards were on the table, and playing cards that had markers visible only to the individuals wearing special contact lenses or sunglasses. Wasn't that in James Bond? It's crazy. How much money are they betting? You're going to engage in all of this for a couple $100,000? It's got to be millions. With respect to poker games held in this area, members and associates of the Bonanno, Gambino, and Genovese crime family used threats and intimidation to assure that the debts were paid. And in exchange, members and associates also got portions of the rigged games. Other defendants were part of the Genovese crime family and more. To conceal the nature of these, they laundered their criminal proceeds. In exchange for a fee, this person got payments from the victims of the games using cryptocurrency. The defendants also sent other proceeds from the Square games for a fee, and they would convert to cash. For example, in April 2019, $50,000. The defendants, Chauncey, Eric, Jamie Gillette, Robert Stroud, Sophia Way, they organized these games. In another example, July 23, a bunch of other people played, and they got money, laundered at least $100,000 of the criminal proceeds. As another example, here was another one, $46,000, $105,000 respectively. It's a lot of money, no doubt about it, but you're going to set up this criminal conspiracy to defraud people for that, like that's it. As another example, September 24th, several defendants also defrauded someone else at a $60,000. Yeah, okay, so here we go. These are big numbers. Overall, from approximately April 19 to the present, $7.1 million. Okay, now we're talking. On several occasions, the defendants and their co-conspirators used threats of force, pay your money that we stole from you illegally, using rigged games. In one occasion, several of the defendants conspired to steal a machine from John Doe, who previously supplied other machines. And they also conspired to commit a gunpoint robbery to steal a model of a game that they wanted, of a card shuffling machine that they wanted to use in the poker game. So, various counts. Count 1, wire fraud, all of them charged. Here's another one. Count 2, illegal gambling business. This guy known as Flapper Poker, aka Flappy, aka Matty. Count 3, illegal gambling business. Not good there. Count 4, money laundering. We've got count 5, the Hobbs Act extortion conspiracy, and many. John Doe is also part of the extortion conspiracy. They want forfeiture of the ill-gotten gains, and that's the indictment. Here you can see a little bit more information over from Fox News. This is the article that Dan Bongino shared with us. The Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups, Miami Heat Terry Rozier, coach Damon Jones, all picked up. La Cosa Nostra crime families. The FBI will hold a news conference about the probe. They did that specifically, and here is Kash Patel and what he had to say about this today. House Judiciary saying, excellent work, Director Kash. If you commit a crime in the Trump administration, you are not going to get away with it. Here's what Kash said earlier today.
Good morning. Today we are here in New York to announce a historic arrest across a wide-sweeping criminal enterprise that envelops both the NBA and La Casa Nostra. The men and women up here standing with me represent a small portion of the leadership team that profound justice in an era that needed it more than any. I'll just highlight some of the details in the case and the FBI work, and then you'll hear from the others. But as you now know, individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today, former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing. Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Casa Nostra to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchesi crime families. And you'll hear more about those details today. The charges and the arrests that were taken down across this country range from wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, robbery, illegal gambling. This FBI will leave no room for any perpetrator of crime across this country. You hear a lot about our work of defending the homeland and crushing violent crime. Well, this work is also representative of a colossal portion of the FBI's mandate to keep America safe and to keep our entertainment industry fair and secure. The men and women that are standing up here today worked tireless hours, days, months, and years. And the fraud is mind-boggling. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's not thousands of dollars. It's not tens of thousands of dollars. It's not even millions of dollars. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery.
Yeah, those are numbers you can get excited about.
A multi-year investigation. And we could not have done it without our interagency partners that are before us today. The NYPD, HSI, and teams of law enforcement officials from around the country made this day possible. It takes a team to bring this kind of justice, sweeping justice, into the halls of the United States courtrooms, where our brave United States attorney has led this prosecution. It takes courageous prosecutors to stand before you and say, we will not allow this kind of illicit activity to happen, not only at the national sporting level, but also where it hides in La Casa Nostra. And when these two collided together, they perpetrated a fraud that is historic in terms of not just money, but the scheme and the deceit that they utilize to steal and swindle people for money, to include crypto fraud. This is an operation that showcases to you that under President Trump's administration, there is no room for any type of criminal behavior, be it on the world's largest stage or in the back rooms of tiny parlors where guard games are being played. We are proud to stand here today with the men and women of the FBI and this legal team. And to the United States Attorney, I just want to thank you personally for taking the time to display the work that the media is about to hear about today in detail. As I said, it does take courageous prosecutors, but it takes a courageous United States Attorney to bring this case, because we are going to take heat for it. But we don't shy away in this administration. We don't say no. What we do is we bring the results across the finish line. We bring them to the public. We bring you accountability. And yes, they will have their day in court, and you will hear the evidence through the court system exclusively. We will not deny anyone of due process. And that's the brilliance of this system. That's the brilliance of this administration. Everyone will be held to account. So with that, I turn it over to United States Attorney Nocella. Thank you.
All right. So nice statement from Kash Patel. And there was also this clip from this woman who is the New York Police Department commissioner. She's saying that at the time, one of these athletes apparently, like there's other allegations about the conduct probably at these poker games, and they're making other bets. So they're indicted for the activity with these, basically the poker fraud. But at the games, they may be telling other people like, hey, this is going to happen at this game. So if you want to get in on this, this is what I'm going to do. Everybody places their bets. That's how you get up to tens of millions of dollars. Scamming somebody $50,000 every game, like having a mark coming in and playing a game. Okay, you got to do that a bunch in order to get to $1 million. Have a bunch of these people getting scammed. They're all going to realize they're being scammed. So what do? You get to the tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions if you throw a game, okay, and a bunch of people are betting one way against it. So she says that happened here. And so maybe more charges will be coming down the line, but this is another big claim.
In some instances, players altered their performance or took themselves out of games to make sure that those bets paid out. One example occurred on March 23rd, 2023 in Charlotte. Terry Rozier, an NBA player now with the Miami Heat, but at the time playing for the Hornets, allegedly let others close to him know that he planned to leave the game early with a supposed injury. Using that information, members of the group placed more than $200,000 in wagers on his under statistic statistics. Rozier exited the game after just 9 minutes, and those bets paid out, generating tens of thousands of dollars in profit. The proceeds were later delivered to his home, where the group counted their cash.
Crazy.
As the NBA season tips off, his career is already benched, not for injury, but for integrity.
Busted! Nice line there, Jessica Tisch. There's a lot of Tisches up there in New York, aren't there? All right, so Jessica Tisch with a nice statement, and I'm sure there's a lot more depth to this. I'm sure at those poker games, they were talking about all sorts of stuff. So they're indicted now, and I'm wondering how far this stuff goes.